Hi, sister.
Hi, how are you?
I'm great. How are you?
Good. You're in your little bit different space.
I am. I am. We're vacationing in New York, and staying in our mutual friend's apartment. And so she's just got this lovely, lovely place. And not surprisingly, she's also a literacy person. So you can see the stacks of books behind me. So it feels like I'm at home. It's
That's
just
good.
beautiful. So
I noticed that she's also done some
yeah,
color
yeah,
organization of books, which I know is something you love to do in your own
I
home.
do. I love to Roy G. Biv the books.
That is,
And although she's got this cool shelf that is stackable, you stack the books vertically, which is actually pretty fun. It's making me rethink my shelving.
yeah, it's like a paradigm shift for book shelving.
It is a big paradigm shift, but what it does is it makes it pretty easy to get what you need. I don't know. There's something really lovely about it. And I think the shelf is on wheels. I think you can slide it around.
Oh boy.
I might have made that up, but I
I
think that's the
think that
case.
those New York apartments are the epitome of smart organization, making use of
You
every
bet.
square inch.
You bet. She's got a
Efficiency.
place for everything and everything in its place.
But I'm thinking, Jan, that both of those things sort of fit with what we wanted to jump on and talk about today, which is some of the ways we support ourselves in making smart decisions about our professional practices and being efficient and thinking about different ways of organizing things like books or practices. Maybe I'm stretching into the
No,
metaphor.
but I was thinking, we did a little prep for this call, but I was thinking she's come up with something on the fly. And this is one of the things I love about you, that boy, you're a girl with metaphors.
I
You
love a
can come
metaphor.
up with a metaphor.
But so I'm going to hold this up because
Oh yeah.
because
Turn it over. You're holding it up upside down.
I am.
Oh no, it's not. Wait. Yeah, there you go. Now it's not upside down. Oh,
Oh,
those are so beautiful.
well, I'm new to this whole orthography thing and learning which direction, you got to learn the directionality for letters. And I mean, I might be, but anyway, tell the people
It's left to right, sister.
what these beautiful things I'm holding up are.
Well, they are Kim Harkreader, who was organizing some professional learning around our work, these 2-day workshops, shifting the balance workshops. She is super, super creative and was really, really inspired by really, really inspired by our 6 commitments that are in the introduction of the book.
I mean, I didn't like get professional lessons from Vanna White or anything. I'm just trying to think of some creative ways to hold the bookmarks up.
And they're for coloring. They're for coloring and for, you cut them up into these 6 bookmarks. And we were just so touched that she took the time to make these, and she was touched by the idea behind them. So do you want to read them, sister? Should we read them? I'll hold up the book. I won't be nearly as good of Anna as you. But
yeah, I mean, I do want to read them, and to be serious, yes, we were so touched that Kim saw the power in those 6 commitments. And maybe you've listened to our podcast or some other places where we've talked about them, but honestly, we wrote the 6 commitments as a way to sort of take care of ourselves and each other, as we knew we were digging into work that is hard and vulnerable, and it can leave us sometimes not at our best. And so these are some commitments we're trying to kind of live into, right?
yes. And I finally found them. I was having trouble finding them. They're on page 7.
They're
I knew that. Actually, I forgot, but I knew that.
Okay. Yeah, page 7. And there are 6 commitments in there. So they're in the introduction to the book. There are these groovy downloadable bookmarks we're going to talk about in a moment, how you can get those, but how about if
Groovy.
you read them? And
Let's
so
do.
people, if you're not familiar with the 6 commitments, you would know what they are. And do you want to start?
Sure, I'll start.
We commit to.
We commit to being kind to ourselves, making peace with the unavoidable reality that there are things we have missed, misunderstood, or misinterpreted.
And we commit to honestly appraising our current practices with an open heart and an open mind.
We commit to recognizing and reflecting on our own triggers and biases. That's a big one, really big one.
In so many ways and in so many contexts, I think these
Mhm.
days. Yeah. We commit to actively working to lower our defenses so we can raise our awareness.
Mhm.
Boy, that's one. I appreciate you because you helped me to work on that one when my defenses sometimes get raised.
Yes, unlike me, whose defenses never get raised or I never get triggered. You do that for me too, sister. All right. We commit to recognizing, reprioritizing, or simply letting go of less helpful practices in order to make space for some that are more effective.
That's the one I'm thinking, boy, that fits with that New York apartment, right? Like you can't have it
Mhm.
all. So you've got to choose the most effective. And the same is really true with our instructional days and our practices. And
It's all
so
about choices.
yeah, so the last one is we commit to taking action rather than giving in to the paralysis of self-doubt and overwhelm. And this is one of my favorites. I'm a real believer in simple starts and getting
Mhm.
going. And you don't have to know or understand everything to make some changes and make some commitments. So those
Yeah.
are the 6 commitments, and that they are what Kim has worked with to make these beautiful bookmarks.
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
we were just thinking about, I mean, they're all the different ways we think you could use these.
Mhm. Yeah, and it was very sweet of her to say we could share them, with our audience generally. So, but you could use them. Maybe you're part of some PD, or maybe you're supporting colleagues at the beginning of the school year and you want to start with some inspiration. Maybe you're embarking on any kind of study or change as an educator. It doesn't have to just be with our book. It could be with any substantive change is going to need this kind of work.
You know, there's a superintendent that I had the chance to work with in my career who's been such an inspiration to me. And one of the things she kind of taught regularly was this idea that the only way anything changes for students is through changed adult efforts or adult change efforts. And I mean, it's easy to sort of like, oh, more change, but that idea of constantly leaning into what can we do to reach more children, make
Mhm.
learning to read easier for more children, or yeah. So the change work is big work, and like Jan said, no matter what you're leaning into, these might be helpful. The other thing I was noticing, I mean, I think if you cut these up, so there's 3 per page,
Mhm.
it seems like they could be almost the right size to like put with a nice big Hershey bar. Don't you think, Jan? They'd go well with a Hershey bar, or
They would. They are Hershey bar size. You
kind of
could
like
you could put
Hershey
them in
bar.
there like golden tickets.
Yeah, yeah, you could
Yeah,
do
or
that.
yeah, they
But
could
I
flip
think,
into a pack of coloring pencils too. That
oh
would be
yeah,
fun.
that would be fun.
Yeah,
Or
yeah.
printed on cardstock and tucked in. I think they're a good way for us to remind ourselves and each other just
Mhm.
of what it takes to stay in this work and be in this work. So
And we find those commitments helpful for supporting change that's not just about literacy education, you know, whether you're changing what you're eating, or you're trying to exercise more, or you're working to any habit you're working to change, or big
Navigating a
thinking.
family gathering where you think you might be
Yes.
triggered.
These are good if you've got a family gathering, and yeah. And we should also mention that they're available also on the downloadable page as a one pager. So like if you just want them in list form, like a bulleted list form, in addition to being in the book. But if you don't have the book yet, they're available in a one pager that, just a handy reference.
Yeah, that we work to make kind of fun and pretty so that you could print it out and just tack it up somewhere
Yes.
or share with a friend. So that's, I think, mostly what we wanted
Yeah.
to let you know about, is that these beautiful bookmarks are there, and you should go grab a set for yourself and your friends and the people that you're trying to support with the work of constant
Yeah.
stretching into more and more effective practices on behalf of
Yes.
kids. Okay,
We
you
send you
probably have
off.
to go because you're
Yeah.
in New York and
We're
you're
in New York. We're going to have to go
headed off
walk
on an
somewhere.
adventure.
Yes, yes. We send you off, friends, with lots of love and encouragement as you are making changes in your personal and professional lives.
Goodbye.
Bye.